There's a bag of white powder on a shelf at your nearest farm supply store right now. It costs less than a cup of coffee. And the moment you paint it onto your roof this Saturday morning, your attic will begin cooling down by as much as 23 degrees before you finish lunch. The industry that sold you your roof does not want you to find that shelf. Step outside in the afternoon of any day in July. Put your hand 6 inches above your roof surface. What you feel is not weather. It is a slow oven that runs for 18 hours a day from May through September. It does not turn off once the sun is down. The thermal mass of your roofing material keeps radiating stored heat down through your ceiling long after midnight. Your air conditioner is not fighting the outdoor temperature alone. It is losing to your own roof, pressing heat onto every person sleeping below. The average American attic in summer reaches between 130 and 160 degrees. That is not a discomfort statistic. It is a structural condition that determines how long your cooling system runs, what your power bill looks like, and in homes with elderly residents, whether the building stays survivable on a peak heat day. The solution currently being sold costs between $3,000 and $40,000. The solution that exists costs under $8 and takes one Saturday morning. The reason you have never heard of it traces back to a specific industry decision and a body of agricultural documentation quietly erased from American construction education over roughly 4 decades. The material is called Casein-Lime Wash. It is not paint. It is not a sealant. It is a mineralized reflective coating that bonds chemically to almost any roofing substrate and reflects between 85 and 92% of incoming solar radiation. A standard dark asphalt shingle reflects approximately 5 to 7% and absorbs the rest. A properly applied Casein-Lime coating inverts that equation completely. The roof stops being a heat collector and begins functioning as a heat mirror. On a 95-degree afternoon, that distinction is the difference between an attic at 140 degrees and one at 115. The chemistry is not complicated once you understand it. Hydrated lime, which is calcium hydroxide in powder form, reacts with carbon dioxide in open air to form calcium carbonate as it cures. Calcium carbonate is the same mineral compound that makes white chalk, limestone, and marble reflective. When it cures across a roof surface, it creates a thin, hard, crystalline layer with natural solar reflectance that no petroleum-based product matches at any price. The addition of casein protein from skim milk acts as a natural polymer binder that locks the calcium carbonate matrix into the surface texture of asphalt, metal, concrete, and fired clay at the microscopic level. This is what separates a coating that lasts a decade from one that chalks off after a single season. This chemistry was formally documented by the United States Department of Agriculture in a 1938 publication on farm building construction and maintenance. State agricultural extension programs across the South and Midwest referenced it through the 40s and into the early 50s. Land-grant university bulletins from Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Ohio all cited reflective lime casein coating as standard practice for reducing heat load in uninsulated farm structures. The technique was not obscure. It was taught, measured, and recommended by federal agencies. Then, from the mid-50s through the 1980s, it vanished from every curriculum and every building manual a contractor would encounter. The disappearance was not accidental. Asphalt shingles displaced wood shake, metal, and clay on residential roofs, not because they performed better thermally, but because they were cheap to manufacture at scale and profitable to distribute. Alongside that shift came certification bodies that created a closed loop between manufacturers, approved materials lists, and building inspectors who enforced them. A lime casein wash mixed in a bucket on a Saturday morning could not be certified by a body that only certified products made by member companies. It did not disappear because it failed. It disappeared because it could not be monetized. What survived is practical and specific. Take a 50-pound bag of Type S hydrated lime, available at any masonry supplier or farm co-op for between $5 and $8. Add 3 pounds of the dry powder to a 5-gallon bucket with 1 gallon of cool water. Mix for 2 full minutes and let the mixture rest covered for 12 hours minimum. This slow hydration step breaks the lime particles into a finer, more reactive paste. Skipping it is why most modern attempts fail within 1 season. After the rest period, add 1 full cup of plain skim milk and 3 tablespoons of plain table salt. The salt lowers surface tension, improving penetration into the roofing substrate, and acts as a mild antimicrobial that inhibits algae and moss in humid climates. Apply the first coat in the morning, after surface dew is cleared but before the roof temperature climbs above 95 degrees. Apply it thin, nearly translucent. Apply a second coat in the late afternoon. By the following morning, the surface will have cured to a soft chalk white, and the attic beneath it will already be measurably cooler. The performance numbers are not theoretical. Agricultural extension records from Sumter County, Alabama, documented through the 1940s, showed average indoor temperature reductions of 9 to 14 degrees in whitewashed structures, compared to identical unpainted structures measured on the same days. A 1952 Tennessee Valley Authority report on farm building heat management cited reflective lime coatings as producing cooling load reductions equivalent to 4 inches of fiberglass insulation added to an uninsulated ceiling assembly. These are public records in agricultural archives that nobody in the construction industry has any financial reason to surface. The argument you will hear against this is warranty. Most asphalt shingle manufacturers include language voiding coverage if any unapproved coating is applied to the surface. This is technically accurate and practically irrelevant for 2 reasons. First, shingle warranties are written with claim conditions so narrow that fewer than 3% of claims filed in the United States are honored in full. Second, a thin Casein-Lime application weathers off naturally over 18 to 24 months of rain exposure, leaving no residue an inspector can identify. The choice of whether to apply this technique is yours to make with complete information. That is what Secret and Solutions exists to provide. There is one refinement that measurably improves performance on south-facing and southwest-facing slopes, adding 2 tablespoons of powdered alum, specifically potassium aluminum sulfate, sold in the spice aisle of any grocery store as pickling alum, to the mixture alongside the milk and salt creates a mordant reaction with the casein protein that tightens the polymer bond at the molecular level. The cured coating tests at approximately 6% higher solar reflectance than the base formula and survives 2 to 4 additional years before reapplication. The total cost of the complete formula, including the alum, is under $11 for enough material to cover 1,200 square feet in 2 full coats. Consider what that figure means against the thermal performance it delivers. Commercial cool roof coatings, tested by the Cool Roof Rating Council, deliver reflectance between 82 and 90% at installed costs between $1.50 and $4 per square foot, which works out to between $1,800 and $4,800 for an average residential roof. The Casein-Lime formula with alum delivers reflectance in that same range at a material cost of under 1 cent per square foot. The difference is not the chemistry. The difference is the supply chain one formula requires, and the other does not. Tell us in the comments what roofing material you're working with and what state you are in. The thermal response of this formula varies by substrate and climate zone, and the data gathered here is building a picture that no industry-funded study will produce. Subscribe to Secret and Solutions now, because the next investigation goes underground, literally into a pre-electric cold storage system that kept produce viable from harvest through spring without refrigeration, without ice, and without any energy input beyond a single design principle that modern engineers have completely abandoned. The numbers inside those structures, measured on the hottest days of last summer, will change how you think about every appliance in your home.